Hey guys, it's quote unquote your boy, Ballface8020, back with another great response video. I had wanted to do the video about, why I don't really talk about immigration in my politicopes, but, I just couldn't bring myself to do it for some reason. I couldn't bring myself to do it. So maybe, I don't know, maybe this weekend, maybe next week, maybe in a few weeks, I don't know. Well, I will make it one of these days. I just don't know when. Yeah, so I've been taking those testosterone injections, and it's definitely given me more energy, but it's really, made my insomnia like really bad. And now I'm kind of wondering that I'm kind of worried I have sleep apnea. And if I have sleep apnea, then I definitely shouldn't be taking testosterone injections. So I should probably get that checked out. Okay. So I saw this thing on FDS. I look at FDS now and then. I would say, I don't know, 4 times out of 5 that I look at FDS. Probably more like 9 times out of 10. I can't find anything to respond to. And even this one might be kind of pushing it. But I'm responding to it because I was kind of thinking the same. I was, thinking about this show too. I was disgusted when I saw the previews of it. And I just wanted to give, I guess my thoughts on, the show and what this chick and these chicks have to say. So anyway, The Sex Lives of College Girls, a new disgusting HBO special. Okay, first of all, is it a special or is it a series? I didn't know it was I thought it was a series. It's a special? Okay. Has scrotacity gone too far? Porn is basically being shoved down our throats by male writers, and I'm sick and fucking tired of it. I was going about my day and saw the disgusting advertisement for it before starting to watch the YouTube clip about the news. Of course, the advertisement is barely legal girls bouncing around and having sex doing stupid shit at parties. I'm sick of men, and I'm sick of this lib fem world. Okay. So are you guys familiar at all with this? Because I only seen the preview once, but it was like, I can't remember if I saw it on Twitter or where, but it was like really random, and I don't know like why I would have been the one getting targeted with it, because like I can't imagine there's anything in my search history that would make me think that I would be interested in unless I just misunderstood what the show was to be about. Like, why would I be interested in like a very, a show that I thought was targeted towards young women? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know if it's like supposed to be funny or whatever, but to me, I thought like when I look at the previews, I was thinking that this show was its target was mainly young women and maybe some gay men, but not to the same extent that like Sex and the City was. So anyway, if you've seen the previews, first thing that I would, notice about it, first of all, it's supposed to be like a comedy. Basically, it's about a comedy about, I think, 5 girls and some freshman girls in some dorm at some elite college. One is black, one is Indian. And I can't remember if 2 are white or 3 are white. I don't know. I also can't remember if there's 4 or 5. I know that one is black and one is Indian. I'm also starting to think that maybe 2 are Indian, but I'm not sure. So the first thing that strikes me, okay, typical show with it's basically kind of like bro comedy for girls, that kind of comedy. Like the joke is kind of more like, hey, I'm such a whore, am I right? And so it's I would say that's probably the best way to describe it. And like this show just seems to be them sleeping around with random guys. That's basically the bulk of the show, and it's all about that. And and whatever humor, for quote unquote humor, you can get around that. But what really struck me about, so nothing noticeable or like worth talking about there. What really struck me was how incredibly long the trailer was. I mean, the trailer, it felt like it was like 10 minutes or something. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And, I know with my videos, I shouldn't be talking, but the thing is, it's like, it would be more like if I made like a 10-minute long trailer to one of my videos, and I don't, maybe that was just, maybe they're not all like that. I don't know. Also, it doesn't seem like it's like not on regular HBO. It's on like some kind of HBO stream thing. I couldn't really tell. I mean, I don't know. I haven't watched an HBO series in forever. I watched the last thing of True Detective, and I'll definitely watch the new one when it eventually comes out. But I wouldn't be surprised if I never watch an HBO series again. I mean, like like The Sopranos held up. The Sopranos held up, but I loved Oz when I was a kid, and I look back on it now, and it was shit. I loved Rome. That was shit. Oh, Deadwood was really good. Deadwood was really good. Carnival was phenomenal. Carnival, like for the time that it was in, like those 2 years that it played, it was like the best show that I've ever seen. Like in the time watching. Obviously, it doesn't hold up as well as The Sopranos. But anyway, that's. I think we're getting a little off topic here. So I don't even know what shows are on HBO or on Showtime these days. As for Showtime, a really good show that was on Showtime was Brotherhood. That was great. I would definitely check that out. So anyway, so I go to I've seen it. I'm disgusted by it. So I sent a text to my brother saying, "Yo, you're gonna watch this piece of shit show?" And he was like, "Well, I mean, like I don't have any interest in it, and it looks horrible, but like." Yeah, I'll probably put it on, like, me and the wife will probably put it on in the background while we're doing other shit. So, and I guess you could see it for that. But okay. So anyway, the thing though that's kind of interesting here is she says, "I'm sick of men and I'm sick of this lib fem world." All right, cool. Well, I get why you'd say you're sick of men, but this shit is not men's fault. This is kind of like the reverse of my thing where I'm saying that, like, you know um you have a lot of MGTOWs or red pillars or whatever saying that society doesn't care about men's problems. It's like, yeah, well, okay, that's men run society. So what you're really saying is men don't care about other men's problems. It's like, that's you can't blame women for that. And this is kind of like the reverse. Like this show. Men aren't the target audience for this. I really don't think. Like, they might try to get men like to watch with, the sort of frat boy humor and, girls having sex or young girls having sex. That might be, but really the show is designed more to appeal, I think, to young women. I think it's going to be pretty niche, so I don't know how successful it's going to be because it's kind of like their the young woman's fantasy of, or of like whoring it up or whatever, and how using sex for empowerment. You know how it is, how especially younger girls are, especially these days. With the Zoomer girls are like super cool. That's what I hear. So yeah, this is off base. But anyway, let's see with the so what's her name? Electro Loop. She's obviously she's blaming men for all this shit. I have to say that it didn't even occur to me, like when I saw the preview, it looked stupid. It looked like it was going to be some, like what she said, lib fem, it's empowering to be a slut, whatever thing. Which I don't like it. I don't find it funny. It doesn't offend me, but it annoys me in how vapid and unoriginal it is. It's not like it like offends me on any kind of like moral level. It offends me on like it's like such bad comedy level, and it's just so stupid. But I didn't even think like that. If you had asked me how would FDS respond to this, I would be like, oh, huh, that's an interesting question. Well, it's like, basically I can tell you that in any show, literally any show that features any female characters in relationships, FDS is going to dislike that because they're going to accuse the women of demonstrating quote unquote pick me behavior, which is like according to FDS, pretty much every woman. I mean, it's like this the stuff that they call pick me behavior is crazy. It's like everything. If you're not a hardcore FDSer, you're a pick me. So I know, but other than that, I would say I don't know. I guess I don't know. They probably wouldn't think anything of it. But based on this in the comments, the show seemed to really offend a lot of FDSers. So let's hear what else they have to say. I hate when women pander to men with this faux feminist sex crap. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, pander to men. I don't know. I would say, I would, like, you drop some black pill knowledge here. I don't really think it's pandering to men, right? I'd say it's maybe pandering. I would say it's a mixture of pandering to men. I mean, pandering to Chad, taunting non-Chad men, and flexing on other girls. That's how I would see it. That's how I see this type of this genre stuff, the stuff of like girls setting up something like do you guys remember Girls Gone Wild from back in the day? That's something that I could see as pandering for men. You're doing it for everything for the male gaze. These shows are like these type of shows and humor aren't really about that. They're more Girls Gone Wild wasn't pretending to be feminist. These are more lib fem things. So they're saying like, yeah, I'm a slut and whatever, but this is getting me, the attention from the Chad I like because I want to impress him. It's getting me the attention from normie guys that I like because I want to taunt them. It validates me and I want to taunt them that they can't have it, which gives me power. And it lets me flex on other girls saying, hey, look at this power I have over normies. Look how much Chad wants me. I think that's what it's more like. So I think to call it as just pandering to men is a gross oversimplification. In off base. So this next one, quote, why is the, quote, sex-crazed college girl being pushed so much? Notice it started getting forced in the early 200s and still isn't stopping. Well, I don't know. I would say probably just because culture's got more sexualized since then. I mean, it's hard to believe, but it's a good, I mean, I guess there's kind of no limit to how sexualized culture can get, huh? It's amazing when you think about it, like how much sex there is in movies and TV when it doesn't need to be there as part of the story, And it's like, like if you want to watch, a porn or a soft porn, then just watch a porn or a soft porn. Like, I don't get why you need to put it in movies or movies or shows where it's not relevant. And look, I don't have a problem with it. I just don't think you need to do it, especially since I think it goes way overboard. I mean, I think that sometimes, it can help the story or the plot or whatever, but I don't really think you need as much of it as people have. Sex crazed college girls. I mean, I'm not really sure what she's talking about them pushing this sex crazed college girl thing. Honestly, the only ones I hear talking about that are, black pillars. That's really the only guys, and that's one of the things that I've kind of argued with black pillars. But like you guys who are thinking that young women are going out and having crazy sex with Chad every weekend. I mean, yes, some are, but that's not the norm. I mean, most their lives really are much more basic than that for most of them. Most of them are in a relationship. And the ones who aren't in a relationship mostly, aren't having a lot of sex because girls don't really like sex that much. So I know that some people are going to say, oh, they don't like sex with you. No, it's not even that. It's like even with Chad, I feel like a lot of times it's more of an emotional validation thing, or it's maybe like they're in the mood thing. But it's not like with us where we're like in the mood like 24/7. Even for Chad, they're sometimes kind of like, not feeling it, Wait, were you talking about something else? Anyway, but I don't know what she's saying, that this was all, like, that this is getting pushed in the media. When I went to university, not an American. An American would never say when I went to university. They would say when I went to the university or my university. So, what is her name? Miss Even? Well, Miss Even, you are not fooling me. I know that you're not an American. I don't know if you're from the UK, from Ireland, from New Zealand, from Australia, or Canada, or maybe even a non-English speaking country, but I know you're not American, so you did not get that past me. Anyway, when I went to university, most girls I knew were either in a long-term relationship or single. Yes, and it's like that now too. But looking to date normally. Exactly. Yes. So I wish black pillars could understand this. Hardly knew anyone who was having casual sex right and left during those crazy college parties. Well, I think that's the thing. Like, most chads are having that, and at least some women, maybe even most women, are having it sometimes. Like, let's say like a woman is in a relationship for some of college, and then she's single for like 6 months in college, and in that 6 months she had sex at a party 3 times. Well, that, like, in the great scheme of things, it's not that big, but like to like to a normie guy, especially if he's like an incel tier guy, that's gonna seem like, oh my god, like that's huge, that's infinitely more than he's getting, so in his mind it becomes bigger than it is. I thought maybe it's a U.S. thing. Oh, I'm from Europe. Well, I guess I'm not. If she says she's from Europe, I guess it's not that impressive for me to pick it up. But nowadays, I don't believe that. Easy and horny college girl is probably a scrote fantasy. Well, sort of yes. But again, I want to go back to what I said earlier about, this particular fantasy is not really a male fantasy. This Sex Lives of College Girls. What this show is not about the male fantasy. Girls Gone Wild may be about the male fantasy. This is the female fantasy, which seeks to attract guys by saying like, hey, you may not care about the feminism, but you like young girls having sex, right? So that's like, so it maybe tries to appeal as a way to get in viewers, but the overall thing is the female fantasy of, like I said, attention from sex with Chad, validation from normies, and flexing on other girls. So it as well, and all wrapped up in some delusional shit about how this is this is true feminism, using sexuality for power, or I don't know. It's something like that. Okay. They wish once they enter college, tons of horny girls will just pile up on them, just like in American Pie. Did that happen in American Pie? Then when it doesn't happen, they develop that angry, pathetic little incel mindset, getting angry at something that hardly even exists. Yeah, I mean, well, that's that. I mean, she's on to something there, right? She's about the thing about it hardly even existing. It's really not what black pill guys think. It's just not happening. And even today, it's even less. Again, like most women do not want to get, like, it's not like with guys. Like I said, guys are down for whenever, for whatever, whenever. Women really aren't. Again, not even with Chad. They don't want to get. They do not want to be there are exceptions, but they do not want to be getting fucked by a different dude every weekend. Okay, it's just. Now it might just be like one night, like every 2 or 3 months, that they're like, hey, I'm down, I'm gonna go out and get fucked, and that happens. That definitely happens. I don't know if most women do it at some point, but it definitely happens. But every weekend and like just all getting run through by Chad on the reg, that doesn't appeal to most women. Society is probably pushing this idea so hard because they want girls and women on campus to be even more harassed and assaulted, so women feel so unsafe and back off from the idea of college. Yeah, this is just like the kind of like can you even call it paranoia? I would say like the kind of paranoia that FDSers have, but it's like not even paranoia. It's really just stupidity. Like, so society is engaging in a conspiracy to increase sexual harassment of women on campus so they don't pursue education, so they'll be more dependent on men. It's like, that's like, why would you say something that's stupid? Because men nowadays are lazy pieces of shit and aren't going to college nearly as much as women anymore. and want knowledge and degrees handed to them instead. What the fuck are you? Whatever, man. I don't even know what you're talking about. In college, most girls are studying. You can't get a good job with a shitty GPA anymore. Well, if they want to go into sales, they can. Nobody cares about your GPA and that. Other than that, I don't know. But fuck college, man. It's a racket. I agree, and I absolutely think it's a male fantasy. I even attended what I consider a party school, and still didn't observe this. Okay. When I went to university, another non-American, got you, I met lots of girls who were still virgins, and I'd only recently had my first sexual encounters with a boyfriend. Certainly had no interest in sleeping around with spotty, horrible, quote, lads, yet definitely not an American. Must be somebody from the UK. It's a total fantasy, all propaganda. Well, again, yeah, I mean, it is propaganda, just not in the way you think. It's actually, feminist propaganda, not I don't know, male or patriarchal propaganda. Okay, it's definitely something from porn that male idiots think is a documentary instead of fiction. It's one good reason to not date any man while in college. He will probably be an angry porn addict on top of being broke and having nothing to offer a woman except grief and frustration. Jesus, man. The thing is that here's the thing about MGTOWs. Like, don't get me wrong, MGTOWs are like infinitely worse than feminists or FDSers. So I'm not trying to like do like a both sides or an equivalency thing. Again, MGTOWs are worse far and away, not even close. But one thing you can say about MGTOWs, like, is at least, I mean, we know it's bullshit, but they say that, look, man, you know what? It's not even bullshit in the sense, because we know that we know that they want women, at least, deep down. But at the same time, they say avoid women. Avoid women. They're bad for you. So they're at least consistent with what they say. But FDSers are all over the place. They're saying that, like, like, you use these rules so you can have a good relationship, right? You can use this stuff so you can have a good relationship. And so, but then they're also saying men are trash and avoid them. It's like, well, which one is it? I mean, which one is it? Take your fucking pick. Like, I would have way more respect for the rad femmes who say just become a political lesbian to avoid, male toxicity, or essentially become a WGTOW, a women going their own way. I would have so much more respect for this than these chicks who try to have it both ways. It's so pathetic. Anyway, this is how men who aren't actual virgins this is how men who aren't actual virgins, is she not an American either, end up incels at 30. They blow their best chances with compatible, naive young women while chasing after the porno dream girl heroine. What the fuck? What are you talking about? I'm lost. A small percentage of men will be getting laid a lot. The average guy is not going to be getting tons of women, even in crazy college years. 19 upvotes. So okay, I think this is what I think this. I don't know if, and it's saying that she's a pick Misha, so I guess that she's. I don't know, but anyway, I don't understand. Like, I thought this was supposed to be about women, but I mean, what she said there is true. Now, the average, I mean, again, this you can take it to the black pill psychotic thing, which, I mean, again, these black pillars are so autistic. Like, they seriously say that 80, maybe 90, maybe 95% of men are not getting laid ever, and because only Chad gets laid. That's seriously how they think, and the one thing about the black pill, like the black pill and incels, like coming into it from the outside, the more I've learned about them, the more I got sympathetic with them. But at the same time, it was because my introduction to incels was on short cells, where it was mostly young guys who were neurotypical, but going through whatever their problems. It wasn't until I started making videos that I started dealing with the autistic incels. And now there's some autistic, I know I've got some autistic viewers, and I generally like interacting with them. I liked them, but the ones who I see in other videos and stuff, and the guys some of the other guys who make videos, I mean, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, I dislike autistic people more since I got into the black pill, because I'm so sick of going over the same shit. because autistic people frequently, like, it doesn't matter how many times you explain something to them, they just can't get it, and it's very frustrating. And it's like, let me tell you, there's a story I wanted to tell you guys. And there was some girl, and she was talking to me about this this friend of hers, right, who had a younger sister who just disappeared. Like this was a girl like 10 years old or some shit. I don't know. Younger sister who disappeared. And then they were at some party where she mentioned it, like, to this group. And there was one guy in the group who was autistic. So he said, well, what probably happened is she was either murdered or she's being kept captive by some guy who's a pedophile who's raping her. And, of course the girl was, really upset and, I guess cried and whatever. And then, everybody else started ganging up on, like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why did you say that? But again, the guy was autistic and he, like, just couldn't understand, like, why what he said was wrong. Because he's like, well, I don't understand. That's probably what happened. That's probably what happened. And it's like, it's not their fault that they're like that, but it drives me. I can't say, like, if that's the way you think, like, I don't ever want to hear anything from you or even see you. I know it's not your fault, but I can't stand that. I'm sorry. Anyway, I know that wasn't a very nice thing to say, but I'm just being honest. Like, they really annoy me. It really annoys me. Again, my autistic viewers, you guys are fine. You guys have never said anything like that. So anyway, and it's going to be touted for sex positivity. Well, I mean, that's kind of what the point is. I saw the ad for this show, and it is exactly what I expected. Yes, I will give her that. Yep, women like Mindy Kaling are complicit. Yeah, and that's kind of another thing I wanted to talk about, but we'll wait. I suspect the writers are not the brightest bulbs out there and have zero understanding of female sexuality. Hookup culture is pernicious for most women for many reasons as discussed on this board. Yeah, I think that's fair. Maybe there are a few outliers, but don't automatically assume you are one of them. Sadly, I know from experience, and I would never judge anyone who either still engages in it or used to. There is so much we didn't know back in the 80s, early 90s. Everything from one's pleasure with a partner to psychosexual harm. Also, this is a fantastic way to earn an MRS. This strategy worked a little bit for some women I knew in college, but those days are over, and who knows what their marriages are like. I worry that teens watch this show and think that is what college should be like. I'm frustrated with these false narratives. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's probably true. Probably true, but what are you going to do, right? Stop fetishizing young women and pretending that our lives are just like a porn film and focusing on our sex lives so much as if the main reason we go to university isn't to study for a career we love. Challenge. Like, really, how is the obsession with women's sex lives on screen not just the old sexism of portraying women in media only as romantic interests with their entire plotline centered around romance, but updated and pornified? Well, again, this goes back to what I was saying about you got to know who it's appealing to, like a romantic comedy and shit, like where it's all like centered around, a girl trying to win over some guy or something like that. That's those are meant to appeal to women. Romance novels are meant to appeal to women. So this is what I would say is the biggest flaw in feminism, is that and I haven't seen, like, whereas I have at least some respect for second wave feminists, also known as radical feminists, I've got nothing good to say about third wave feminists. But they both have this same problem where they say that, like, a lot of the things that they don't like are things that are, I don't want to say facilitated, enabled, promoted by the majority of women. I mean, women are the ones doing these things that feminists think are bad for women, and without male pressure. So they have to say, they make up this thing that there's actually some hidden patriarchal conspiracy to make women, obsessed with makeup or romance or shit like that, or like the reason girls like to play with dolls, and the reason that what girls do in middle school and high school is just talk about boys all day, whereas guys actually talk about like real stuff. They say this all has to be some like hidden patriarchal conspiracy, and it's just not true. I mean, if you're like a functional human who's observed stuff, that women like this stuff because they like this stuff, and there's nothing really anti-feminist about it, because for it to be anti-feminist, it would have to be making women feel like they're inferior, and women, I mean, women feel inferior to Chad, I guess, and then that's true. But first of all, they like that. Second of all, they really, women, like, the idea that women feel inferior to men it's wrong. In Western culture, it's just not true. I mean, like, or at least in middle class Western culture, it's not true. I mean, I've met a lot of women who think that they can like physically beat up guys. It's not uncommon. I seriously wouldn't be surprised if most, like, I don't know about older women, but most young women think that, like, you take your average 16-year-old girl and say, could you beat up most of the guys in your class? They would say, oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's just like, they're completely delusional. And they would say, like, are you smarter than most of the guys in your class? Yeah, yes, absolutely. Women, if patriarchy was convincing women that they're inferior, or trying to convince women that they're inferior, it's doing a shit job, because women today have more self-esteem than, or at least in the West, than they ever have in history. I mean, women today think very highly of themselves. They do not feel inferior to men in general. Yeah, again, yeah, they feel inferior to Chad, but that's really it. That's really it. And there aren't a lot of Chads out there. But yeah, men in general, no. So they're really conflating concepts here and not seeing the whole picture. Wasn't this developed by Mindy Kaling? Regardless, I'm totally uninterested based on the title. Yes, it was developed by Mindy Kaling. We'll talk about that further. You're joking. Please be joking. Just the name of it exploits young women. Okay, so this chick, I guess, is saying, like, you're joking because I love Mindy Kaling, and why would she betray women like this? Guys, this is nothing new from Mindy Kaling. This is Mindy Kaling's entire comedy career, which is just, her entire comedy career has been Indian American girls' problems. Am I right? Plus, I'm a shallow whore. Am I right? Like, that's her entire routine. That's her entire shtick in everything she's ever done. Now, I'm not saying she doesn't occasionally do some funny stuff. I've never actually seen her do anything funny, but I'm sure she has. I also haven't seen a ton of her stuff. But, like, she had that. Mindy Kaling is somebody who I really feel sorry for. Because, it's one thing to to go through, like, a Chad or a Stacy phase in high school or college, or even not a Chad and Stacy phase, where you had maybe some parts of it, you were living like some parts of the dream, and you had your glory days back then, as a high school kid or a college kid, and then it ends, and you move on. Now, you don't necessarily have to move on to a family or anything, or marriage and family. You don't have to settle down necessarily and have kids. You don't necessarily have to move on to something better, but you should be moving on. Even if it's to something worse, you should be moving on. Mindy is one of those people, and I don't necessarily even think it's more common with women than with men, who's just living in the past. Like, she peaked in high school or college and has mentally never moved past that. And the way she deals with it is by making these shows, like that one show she made a few years ago, or I think maybe only 2 years ago, was about some Indian girl, and getting fucked with, like, finding some Chad to fuck her. And, dealing with her, like, mixture of her she's got an inferiority complex about her heritage mixed with a superiority complex about her heritage, mixing that with the Chad chasing and, just goofiness of being young. And then now she's made a second show about that. Of course the show's got an Indian character, which is obviously supposed to be a stand-in for Mindy herself. And it's pathetic. It's just pathetic. And, and like I said, I really feel bad for her. I think it's a really sad thing to see when somebody just, gets stuck in the past like that. Like the thing is, like, I've talked about it before. Like if you said, like, well, what was the best time in my life? Well, like, grade school, when I look back on it, at grade school. But like, I also know that, yes, that was the time I was happiest, but it's not relevant to me today. So like, if you made me that age again, it wouldn't be the best time of my life because I've moved on. I'm stuff like coming home and eating cupcakes and watching Animaniacs and, playing with my, best friend. What kind of stuff do we even do then? I don't know. We would, go sledding and stuff like that. That's just not stuff that does it for me anymore. Like, yeah, it was great at the time, but I've moved on. And what's sad is when you have people, like I said, like Mindy, she's never got them moved on and stuff. She would love to be able to do that all again. And it's just, it's weird. It's weird. And no other way to describe it other than saying that it's pathetic and it's sad. I agree. She posted about it on Instagram the other day. I Googled, so disappointed in her. Why are you disappointed? This is who she's always been. I don't know why she's hyped up, to be honest. Thank you. She had her own show, and I couldn't get past the first few minutes of the first episode because she was chasing a man who was barely interested in her, and the man she was chasing was white, and it felt like white worshiping. Yes, well, Mindy definitely has an issue with that. This is, with Indian girls, it's not as big as what it is with Asian girls, but with some of them, it is, especially ones who are like semi-alienated from their culture, which Mindy definitely is. And, a place like India, I don't know if they have it in Pakistan, but in India, like, there's like skin lightening creams and stuff. And, so a lot of Indian girls really are into like this. I mean, what you called it, white worshiping. Yeah, I mean, it's a real thing. There's some Indian guys who are into that. It's fucking weird, but whatever. Because the thing is, because here's the thing, right? Like when people, the whole white worshiping thing, because in the black pill community, we see it with the ethnics, and they don't say that what they're doing is white worshiping, but it is. They say like, oh yeah, I'm an incel because I'm an ethnic. Or they have to mention that they're an ethnic as if it has anything to do with them being an incel. Nobody's an incel because of your race. Or the thing is, because women don't care. Chad is Chad. Women don't care if you're a black Chad or an Asian Chad or an Indian Chad, or an Aborigines Chad. I mean, that's all the same to women. Chad is Chad. They don't give a shit about that stuff. That's the men are the ones who care about that. But here's the thing, I mean, like I'm white. I've grown up white my whole life. This isn't something we think about, like skin color, like that's like, I mean, now I'm not saying we don't think about race. I mean, race in America is like considered very important. But like, like when Indians are like trying to like, lighten their skin, like a white person would never do that. I know it because we don't have to lighten our skin, but that's not true because some of us are pretty dark. Some like the ones from Italian, and it's not something we even notice. Like if your skin's light, your skin's dark. I mean, nobody cares about that shit. I mean, it's really all. So there's people who obsess over skin shade. It's all in their heads. Because I mean, like if white people don't even care about it, then it's obviously if it was important, we'd care about it too. Her show didn't feel any different from that show by Aziz Arzi, both lib fem propaganda. Well, I don't know if he's a lib fem, but he is a fucking weirdo. Yeah, he also has some serious white worship going on. Yes, I think she has some internalized whiteness issues based on her work and writing. Yeah, no question. Yes, that's what it is. She's a lib fem and she seems like a white worshiper. Yep. And I fucking hate lib fems. But God, I got white worshiping vibes so hard from that Aziz Ansari show. I couldn't get through it on those grounds alone. Really, the plot of every season was him chasing a new white girl. Not only is that boring, but also just bizarre. Like, aside from showing his parents on camera for all of 5 minutes, they could have easily just cast a white guy in his place, and there were basically no brown women in it at all. Yeah, I mean, well, I guess if I was a brown woman, I might find that kind of irritating, but whatever. I mean, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, man. If there's any brown girls who don't like their men, fetishizing white girls, I can tell you that there is plenty of white guys who would be happy to fetishize you. So maybe we just call it even. Wow, that's even worse. A woman spewing this nonsense. Well, of course. I mean, who else would do it? I mean, why didn't you just look up something before you started spewing nonsense about it? The TV show that she made where she was a doctor, I stopped watching it after her boyfriend tries to anally rape her and she brushes it off. I'm so sick of this shit. You think men would ever be convinced an attempted anal rape on their ass is a funny joke? Haha, never. See, I actually could see like some bro comedy passing that off as funny. I mean, isn't there a scene in This Is the End where Jonah Hill gets raped and that's supposed to be comic? So I think this has more to do with bro humor than in any type of misogyny. But this is like, I'll get back to what I was saying about seeing when you see things through this delusional lens. Well, I watched most of the series and I did not catch that. So my moment of unredeemability of the show was when she got with that asshole doctor and had his kid. He was so mean to her the whole series. I have no idea what she's talking about. She's talking about the Mindy Project? I don't know. What the fuck? What happened to Mindy? This is someone who is a Hollywood pawn, not a major player. Again, nothing happened to her. This is her whole career. Looking at her personal life story outside of her first big break on The Office, I always got mega cool girl vibes. Yes! That's exactly it. That's exactly it. She's a popular girl who never grew up. It looks like she's the only woman executive producer, which gives me not like the other girls vibes. Yeah, she does kind of have that. I just checked out the trailer. It looks terrible. A bunch of young women who seem to lack the intelligence to get into the school they're in and are only there to do the supposed modern version of earning their MRS. See, I didn't get that from the preview. It seemed to me like more just about getting fucked in Chuck, not about the MRS. Did Kaling notice Sex in the City getting by a reboot and think we need vacuous, self-centered, barely legals? Yeah, I think honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that was it. Accurate to fuck, the trailer is garbage. Mindy Kaling is so fucking problematic. I'm done with that lib fem puke. Yep. Mindy Kaling is a pick-me. That's what I'm talking about. How is Mindy Kaling a pick-me? Like, yes, she's a pick-me for Chad. So what? So what? So a woman, basically a pick-me is a woman who simps. So a woman who simps for so women simp for Chad, and that makes them pick-me's. All right. And then, so what do you call it when, Chad is what, 20% of the population? So, and women simp for that 20%. But men then go and simp for like nearly 100% of the female population. I mean, except for Chad. So like 80% of men simp for 100% of women. So I would say like, so what, are men all pick-me's too? Get the fuck out of here. I don't like it when people, because here's like, if it was really about helping women, it's like I'm not saying that feminism isn't all, like there's nothing in feminism about helping women. Obviously, feminists care about helping women. I get that, but if it was like that was like really what it was about, and like it was helping women and nothing else, then they wouldn't be victimizing themselves like this. Because ultimately, any improvement, I mean, obviously, if you think so little of men aren't going to improve women's situation. Women are going to have to do it themselves. But you're not going to do that sitting around just, bemoaning a patriarchal conspiracy. You would have to like tell women to like take some more initiative and stop like, and that would start with, taking responsibility, saying like, so, and seeing things as they are. There's no conspiracy. You can't say there's a conspiracy to make women pick-me's when men are much bigger pick-me's, It's what do you call it when you like are super short-sighted? I can't remember, but that's what it is. It's like you're just not seeing the big picture. Haven't checked it out, but I've heard people saying the writing reads as if it's written for high schoolers. Yeah, I would say high schoolers and college girls. Maybe some other ones other than that. There was a line about, quote, being invited to an upperclassmen's party, which no one cares about in college, and tweaked the ages last minute. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I never really thought about that. I don't know. I don't know if college kids cared about that when I was there or not. I went to a party school too, but I never went to any parties, so I don't know. Um, I'm so tired of the four women who are successful at whatever in life, but need to find their soulmate and have tons of sex shows. Sex in the City, Girls, Insecure, Girlfriends, Living Single, Run the World. Can't they come up with another trope already? Okay, Sex in the City, written by gay men, mostly watched by women. Girls, written by Lena Dunham, woman. Insecure, written by Asay Ray, I was about to say another black woman, but another woman. Girlfriends, don't know what that is. Living Single, don't know what that is. Run the World, don't know what that is. So, but anyway, I want to talk about Girls. The thing about Girls is a very interesting show. I lost interest in it, but when it came out, it was really a revolutionary show. It is, to this day, Girls is the only show that I've ever seen that portrays women negatively. That portrays women in a negative fashion. And the and it's all like completely accurate. I'm not trying to sound like a MGTOW here, but it's not really so much, the show's not really an attack on women per se, but it is, whether it's meant to be or not, it ends up being an attack on, white, middle class, young, liberal, urban women. Their shallowness, their hypocrisy, their stupidity, their vanity, their insecurity, their disloyalty to their friends, is just the show portrays the women as in just a terrible fashion. And it's, if you've dealt with young white women, I mean, again, unless they've changed since I was a kid, like this, it's really accurate. It's really accurate. And I remember my brother and his, like, we were all eating dinner, and my brother and his wife was there, and I said the thing about Girls that makes it such a revolutionary show is it's the only show to express women, to portray women in a negative fashion. And he said it's the only show to portray young women in an accurate fashion. And then his wife was like, yeah, it was like Dickhead 99. That's not, why would you say that? That's not nice. And he was like, well, I mean, come on, like, think about like your friends, it's kind of like that. And so yeah. Can they come up with another tropes already? Well, again, that gets back to what I'm saying. No, they can't come up with another trope, because this is what women like. These shows are Sex in the City, Girls was different. That was kind of for everybody. But Sex in the City and Insecure, those are shows that are designed to appeal to women. So no, they can't come up with another trope, because this is what women want. That's like saying, like, why do we need romance novels? Can't they come up with another trope? No, they can't, because that's what women like. I mean, that's how it goes. You may not do it for you, and I'm with you, but it does it for most women. I wasn't going to watch it because it sounds creepy, but I at least had hope it was progressive or feminist show. It is. It makes me sick how much young girls are sexualized. Yeah, I mean, I know. I know. Fake woke vibes. I watched, and there was one scene where I had hope for that character. For what character? What the hell are you talking about? Well, she backpedals, and I took that moment to realize I should hold out hope on anyone being firm in their convictions. What? Now I'm curious. Now I want to see the show. HBO has a tradition for that. Think about Sex in the City. Again, who watched Sex in the City? The Liv Fems are sucking up to Mindy. Oh, thank you for representing us. I'm vomiting into a... Exactly. This is what women like. This is, again, women think this is empowering, and in a way it is, because women have a different conception of power than men do. They just think of it differently. Again, women, like, men think about power more in a physical sense, more in kind of like an out-muscle you sense, not necessarily literally out-muscle you, but like overcoming. Whereas women tend to think about power more in a manipulative sense. Women are much more social creatures than men are. So and women are very status conscious. So like this is like feminist to them. Say like, like, wow, like, yeah, my sexuality gets me Chad. It gets me, a bunch of men. It gives me power over men. These men who can't have me, and they can't hurt me either because, either A, because I'm so delusional I think I can defend myself, or B, because I have Chad to protect me. And then maybe most importantly of all, I get to flex on other girls. I mean, that's like that is such a huge thing to women. And if you confront women about this, you go to college and you confront women about this, you say like, they're all dressed up like to go to class and some shit, and a lot of times, they're dressing, really slutty or whatever. And you say to them, I mean, don't be rude. In fact, probably don't bring it up at all, actually. But I'm saying, like, I know from college, like girls that I knew when I would ask them about this, just to see the reaction, saying like, when you dress like that, are you're trying to impress guys? Why would you dress like that? Put on makeup, do your hair just to go to class or something? You're trying to impress guys? And they'll say, well, no, I'm trying to impress other girls. It's all a big flex. I saw the preview for the show, and it was one of the scenes, the character is explaining how she doesn't like hookup and how she can only have sex when she's in a mutual loving relationship or something to that effect. And one of the other characters throws something at her in disgust. I think it's the Indian girl who throws the thing at the white girl who says that. And I thought, who is this show for, really? It's for young women. Kaling serves as pick-me energy in a lot of her projects. I wonder how much of that spills over into her personal life. I mean, all of it. There's not too much of a difference between, the comic Kaling and the real her. I mean, that's who she is. I'm so glad you posted it. The title makes me so uncomfortable. Why make the title sound like a porno? Because so people will watch it. Apparently, it is more wholesome than the title suggests. But even then, it seems like Sex and the City, but with teenage women. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It is a garbage title Mindy Kaling should not have allowed. Well, again, this is. I mean, whatever, man. This is what sells. Remember, Sex and the City was kind of a risque title at the time. If it is a program about young women for women, why make it sound like an exploitive, rapey, ageist, misogynist, voyeuristic garbage? Because that's what young women like. Sheesh. I feel this post in my soul. One silly question, though. What's the opposite of a libfem? I don't even know what to call myself anymore. A radfem. A libfem is a third waiver. Whether you take it, like, whether you actually define yourself as a feminist or not. And a second waiver is a radfem. And then she's going to talk about fourth wave feminism, stuff like that. Some stuff about Korean feminism, which I've never heard before. Selling out her fellow women for money. I used to like Mindy Kaling. Again, she's not doing it for money. She's doing it to relive her youth. Is that better or worse? I used to like Mindy Kaling, but I can't stand women who participate in their own oppression. So you can't stand almost all women? Because according to your standards, essentially, like, I seriously think like 90% of women, maybe more, are participating in their own oppression. So this is like... This is what feminists believe. If you really drill down their beliefs, it ultimately comes down to women have failed feminism. So it's like, well, maybe the problem isn't women. Maybe the problem is feminism itself. It's giving capo vibes. Look it up. Oh, that's really nice. That's really classy. Truly disgusting. Yes, what you said is truly disgusting. That this is the writing that gets funded in the U.S., and this is what is considered culture. Well, yeah, we don't really have culture in the U.S. The way the media forces women to make sex the center of their lives is absolutely mortifying. The media forces women to watch shows that are all about sex. Hookup culture is only getting worse. Nah, I think it's probably not as big as it used to be. Crossing my fingers, the next pandemic is caused by STDs. That's kind of funny. I saw like a nanosecond of the advertisement and could already sense the sexist bullshit. It's not sexist, you idiots. No, women are not dying to sleep with random night every night now that they're legal. Literally all humans begin having active sex lives in adulthood, if they so please. Well, all women do. All humans, nah, Trust me, men, unless basically there's two ways a man can have sex on demand. He can be Chad or he can be gay. Other than that, it's not going to happen. Or he can pay for it. I mean, he's not going to be an incel like incels say, but he's not going to. He's definitely not getting it on demand. Women for their entire lives can get it on demand. But adulthood, if they so please, but they act like women specifically are sex-crazed animals when it's men that are. Well, again, this is something like that. This is a feminist thing. Like feminists are always trying to. I mean, I don't know if these women just aren't familiar with it, but third wave feminists are really big into saying that like, oh, we're just as we like sex just as much as men, or we want sex just as much as men, as kind of an empowerment, and that's a feminist thing. I mean, it's complete bullshit. It's complete and utter bullshit, but it's true. But I mean, it's true that's what that women are the one promoting it, not men or society or whatever. Seems like propaganda to make sex even more casual, despite the risk for women. Again, it's not propaganda. It's women. Women flexing is not propaganda. I mean, who propaganda to who? Part of the reason why this is happening is because the genders are unmatched at most colleges, with women far outnumbering men. This creates pick-me behavior. Nah, this happened. I had a college where women really outnumbered men. It didn't make any difference. Both male and female promiscuity. Golden penis syndrome enables male fuckboy behavior. Yeah, if he's Chad. And it has been academically studied by sociologists. Worth Google search if you're interested. Also, Mindy is a big girl. She may have her personal history. She felt like she had to perform for male attention. So she may see this sexual behavior as normal. Poor thing. That's possible. She's not really a big girl, though. She doesn't have a big frame or anything. She's just a little heavy. And she's short, too. Women have more power when we refuse sex and less power when we give sex. My legs are closed until a man has something to offer me that I value. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess. I don't know. I mean, is it so hard to realize people go to college to learn and get an education? Gods, I hate everyone. Well, I didn't go to college to learn and get an education. I went to college for 2 reasons. Three reasons. One was to stay on my parents' health insurance. 2 was because I wanted to keep living, the extended childhood of high school, like with minimal responsibilities and, getting to, didn't really party, but getting to, sleep during the day and, womanize and drink, stuff like that, and not get and then also to put off figuring out what I wanted to do, after I graduated. And that's really, I went to college to stall adulthood. I don't know if that's why most people go, but that's why I went. Learn and get an education. Well, I didn't learn much in college. Thank you. I just saw the entire title while watching TV with my dad, and rage filled my entire bosom. Why would rage fill at you for watching this thing? It's just, it looks stupid. There's nothing in it to inspire rage. Just what we need more of. Barely legal women. Why is it never sex life of male college students? Well, because nobody would watch that. Men don't want to see other men having sex. Maybe some gay men would watch it. Maybe some women would watch it. But men wouldn't watch that. But, again, the thing of the sex lives of college girls has appeals for everybody. First of all girls are into other girls, even if they don't say it. Second of all, women like this shit. Third of all, there's going to be some guys who are like, oh, hey, I like bro humor, and I like the idea of young girls having sex, so, all right, I'll watch it. So that's why. Again, there's no conspiracy. That's right, because men wouldn't want to watch, and they would rather have a pornified pillow fight. It's the women who want the pornified pillow fight. I haven't seen the show, but writing credits show 5 women, including co-creator Mindy Kaling and 1 man. We're at late stage internalized misogyny. How is it misogyny if they think they're superior to almost all men? So, you have to feel superior to all men and not just, you have to feel superior to Chad too, or it's internalized misogyny? Because that's essentially what she's saying. The LVM don't even need to write their indoctrinating TV shows and media anymore. Yeah, because women are, just stop it. The pick-me's, and you know why all this happens? Like, why they're talking about, they think on this stuff like, this is kind of like that red pill, black pill thing. It's like women don't even see non-Chad men. Like, frequently you'll see when women are talking about men as a group, you can hear from what they're saying, they're talking about Chad. they like don't even see the rest of us. So like this is so that's because that's the misogyny. You know, so they're saying like this tells women to be submissive to men or that they're inferior to men or whatever. And no, it doesn't. It says that they should be submissive to Chad and that they're inferior to Chad. And they're because and the reason that this sells is because women get off on that. Whatever. But it's not men. It's at most the top 20% of men. But like to women, it's just like, oh, men. That's like that's just how they think about it. Pick-me's fund it and write it themselves, fueling the spread of the ideology without LVM having to lift a finger. Sad times, but even more reason for FDS to rise against it. Yeah. I just watched the trailer. I find it utterly comical that one of the taglines is "No regrets." Right, so you're telling me that girls in college are going to have promiscuous sex with no regrets? Highly unlikely, yeah. HBO wants me to watch this show so damn... Yeah, they really are pimping it. Like shoving adverts down my throat. It's hard because I know other women who think that this is the standard because the horny college girl propaganda is that much of a beast. I don't even use women directors, writer, producers as a gauge anymore. Too many are just pick-me's that are too willing to brainwash and exploit young girls. Some new girlfriends tried to show me the Call Her Daddy podcast. Same gross internalized misogyny, saying that ugly women should be grateful for the opportunity to blow a man. I'm tired of getting this girl boss pick me media. Makes me gag. I have nieces and seriously worry about what content they might be consuming online and the impressions that they're getting about sex and yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I worry about that shit too. Not sure why anyone trusts HBO. Their programming is pretty crappy towards women. That is why I make the rare exception to say if you can really watch anything they produce, just pirate it. What are the chances this is not glorified porn for men? It's not. It's it's a female fantasy. Really, I have no television in my home. No men live here, so it's a terrible world out there. I'm avoiding media, except Reddit, obviously. There were some sketchy moments on the Mindy show, but never have I ever is an amazing show. I'm going to check this out. Anything just for the rest of her life. Based on The Office and Never Have I Ever. It will be interesting to see where the show goes when it's apparently starting. For what it's worth, I read one of her books and she talked about how the studio execs told her she needed to not emasculate all the male characters so much. Yeah, I could see Mindy Kaling saying that. Whatever, man. Fuck her. She's very interesting to me because there are definitely boys will be boys moments in some of her shows and sort of frat humor that I don't get. But on the other hand, she's put things on TV that I've never seen before that ring true. Whatever, man. Fuck Mindy Kaling. Sex sells and she knows it. Yes, thank you. And then the last person, I can't read it here, but the last person says, has anyone seen Naked Attraction? I don't know what that is. Anyway, this ended up being way longer than I thought. Most people probably turned it off after like 10 minutes. But I got my thoughts out there. That's all for now. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving. I'll see you guys after the break.